Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, during the Polish-Slovak consultations, pointed out that in connection with the Russian aggression against Ukraine, solidarity and coherent actions of all European Union countries and members of the North Atlantic Alliance were necessary. As he added, the fight not only for a free Ukraine, but also to maintain the sovereignty of Poland and Slovakia. We have been watching Russia closely for centuries. We know the risk of such a neighbor. Today, unfortunately, in a late manner, Western Europe speaks out with our voice. It sees the gigantic risks flowing from the east. In turn, the Prime Minister of Slovakia, Edward Heger, indicated that further sanctions against Russia were necessary. Both Poland and Slovakia are neighbors, friends who have not turned their backs on Ukraine. We are helping Ukraine very intensively, and we will continue to cooperate in this aid, because we realize how important it is, in the context of our history, for Ukraine to remain a free, democratic country. Yesterday, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal met, among others, with U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin.
Russia are to create next crises, an energy crisis. We go through this in the winter time. Now they create migration crisis. Now their purpose and the aim is create food crisis in African, Asian, and European countries. So I hope that United States also will take leadership position in this issue, in this directions, and will support Ukraine and all of the countries.
He announced this morning some expanded sanctions, as well as some opportunities to help meet the needs of the Ukrainian people. We have passed, as you know, a $13.6 billion legislation appropriation that is about humanitarian assistance, economic assistance, and military assistance. We want to do more. The president said he will be asking Congress for more.
Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said that the United States Air Force has developed a new Phoenix Ghost drone system that is expected to provide significant support to Ukrainian troops.
This is a drone that had been in development before the invasion, clearly. The Air Force was working this. And in discussions with the Ukrainians, again, about their requirements, we believed that this particular system would very nicely suit their needs, particularly in eastern Ukraine.
In turn, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said in an interview with Der Spiegel Daily that the government's priority is to avoid a confrontation between NATO and Russia. In this way, he justified the fact that Berlin had not decided to supply Ukraine with heavy weapons. Politicians from the CDU-CSU bloc threatened to submit a request to the Bundestag next week for the supply of heavy weapons to Ukraine if Scholz did not do so by then. In turn, the British Prime Minister assured of another military support for Ukraine.
And at the same time, the extraordinary fortitude and the success of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people in resisting Russian forces in Kyiv means that I can announce today that we will very shortly, next week, reopen our embassy in Ukraine's capital city.
Yesterday, the United Kingdom imposed sanctions on 26 people and entities from the Russian military sector. In turn, today Australia has sanctioned and banned the country from entering 144 Russian senators, as well as the daughters of Russian President Vladimir Putin and the country's head of diplomacy, Sergei Lavrov.